I'm so happy to be here to talk more about gut health and our different perspectives on how people can stay healthy, especially today when there's so much going on and it seems that all the diseases are kind of going upwards. We should do it that way, right? And
Yes.
because of all the pollutants, etc., that are in our oceans and in our atmosphere and in our food. And then, so the thing, as I said in my post on LinkedIn, you have clients, you say, patients who come to you and their issues 90% have to do with the gut.
Yes, finally. Yeah, I mean, very often you don't really think of it as it might be like having a pause in the gut, but very often, like either if it's skin issues or mental health problems or thyroid problems, autoimmune diseases, very often everything can be linked to the gut. And the gut is really not only nutrition. That's what I always say, because people always think, okay, the gut is nutrition, it's only food, but it's so much more. So it's stress, it is breathing, it is trauma healing, it is a lot. It's not just nutrition is a big part, but it's not the only thing.
And the thing with the gut, I think you're going to talk about that today, is there's a lot of things that happen in the gut, that's produced in the gut, that governs all our systems, our autonomous nervous system, etc. And it's amazing what happens in that space of all these organs that we refer to loosely as a gut.
Yeah, I mean, so we've got like our central nervous system, so the brain and all the nerves, but we also have our enteric nervous system, and it's actually like our second brain in our gut. And that is talking to our central nervous system through the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is a very important nerve. It's a 10th cranial nerve. We've got 12 vagus brain nerves. It's only the 10th that really goes from the brain into the body. The rest just stays somewhere here. And the vagus nerve is very, very important for lowering stress, for going like relaxing, rest and digest. So it's very, very important to, well, take care about your vagus nerve. And also that goes, well, by taking care, for example, of your microbiome, so your gut health again. And lowering stress levels and doing breathing exercises or cold plunges. There's so many things how you can. I know some people hate that, so don't do it, because it's all about lowering stress, not increasing stress. But by like giving attention to your vagus nerve, you will go more into the rest and digest, so more into your parasympathetic system, and then therefore you will just like giving love to your gut, and therefore giving love to the rest of your body and mind.
Right. Well, you came on last time and we talked about a whole bunch of things in terms of what you can do to fortify your system and to, sleep better. You gave us quite a few things. I don't remember what all of them are.
No, talks about.
I do know that I'm taking K2 with D3 on account of that, because. Yeah. But I was thinking that bananas were good enough to get my potassium, but
yeah, your potassium, but that's something else than K2. Yeah, so lots of people, because actually we in the Netherlands we call potassium K, but kalium, potassium is actually not the same as vitamin K2. You also have K1, but it is really about K2, and that is essential for our bones, our cardiovascular system, really to make sure that your calcium doesn't stick in your arteries, but really goes so that your calcium and vitamin D goes into your bones instead of just sticking into your arteries and getting arteriosclerosis.
Yeah, and then the other important thing with that, I'm thinking, is that we sometimes we don't realize that what we take in, the sunlight, we really need that too as well. And these little things that we do can actually prevent a lot of hardship in the latter years.
Yes. I mean, vitamin D is so important for so many things, and especially when you have a little bit of a tan and you live in a country where there's not that much sun. you should supplement vitamin D. I mean, you can get it by eating fatty fishes, butter, like real butter, but still it's quite hard to really get a high level. And vitamin D is good for, well, your immune system, to stay healthy, not to get every cold every winter, for your bone health, anti-cancer. It is good for so many things. But then still, the vitamin D, the K2, magnesium, they all work together. And just talk a little bit about the K2 again. So it is mainly in fermented foods. And fermented foods, I lived in Japan for a while, and there they've got natto. Natto is like fermented soybeans. To be honest, I didn't like it, but that is really the main source of K2. But like lots of other fermented foods contain K2, vitamin K2, so not potassium, but also fatty fishes, some dairy, liver, chicken meat, for example. Fermented food also is really, really good for your gut health, because your gut, your microbiome. If we talk about our microbiome is like all the trillions of bacteria and yeast and everything that lives in our gut, but not only in our gut, also on our skin, in our mouth, ladies in a vagina. So we've got different microbiomes in different parts of our body, and we have to take care of that. And we need to diversify as much as possible. So, and by adding fermented foods, so things like natto, or kefir, kimchi, yogurt. That's many people eat yogurt. Sauerkraut. Like every country's got its own fermented foods. Just try to use that as much as possible. Well, if you've never eaten that before, start slowly, because otherwise you get bloated, and it's not good either. So start slowly and build it up. It's so good to diversify your microbiome to, well, make your gut healthy, and therefore the rest of your vagus nerve, and therefore your brain.